Good day, Bharat. It's a pleasure to speak with you again today. So today we do some kind of an interview together to discuss the journal, environmental policy and law, and the future of publishing. So let me introduce you to the viewers. Professor Bharat Desai, he holds the prestigious Jawaharlal Nehru Chair and is professor at the International Law. Professor of International Law at the Center of International Legal Studies, School of International Studies at the Jawaharlal Nehru University in New Delhi, India. He's a distinguished author of many publications, and he's also the editor-in-chief of the journal published by iOS Press, the journal Environmental Policy and Law, which we also call EPL. Now, EPL has been around for say around 50 years and has been published by iOS for the last 35 years. You've been involved already for many years with EPL as one of the active and prominent authors, and now you're editor-in-chief of the journal. Having connected with EPL yourself, can you describe the subject domain of EPL, how it has developed over the past 35 years, and how has the publication itself developed?
Well, yeah, thank you for this, gracious invitation for me to recapitulate, my association, well, my forays into this field, my publication work, teaching, research in the field of international environmental law, and of course my own publications of articles in EPL, environmental policy and law, and association with the journal. Well, I have based myself, at University of Bonn as a Humboldt Fellow, almost in 90s during 98 and 99 period, and since journal was being brought out, the then editor Wolfgang Burhani was based in Bonn, and so I had the occasion to interact with Wolfgang, during that period, and very closely I saw how the journal was taking shape, and several of my own articles, both in the field of lawmaking process as well as institution building process, which were published in the EPL. I think, and one of the most remarkable was my publication of my Bonn open lecture delivered on, I think, 26th of October 2005 at United Nations University Center in Bonn, and then that talk was published in EPL in 2006, called UNEP, a global environmental authority. That was really a benchmark, which has been cited, around the world. It's a very comprehensive paper, So I think those selective, I would say, since the journal has been having that, theme, called the journal for the decision makers. So, but I think there is exactly what probably, came to my mind in terms of the how do you bridge this two areas, the work of the scholars and the needs, interest of the decision makers. And so my quest, or whatever the little dabbling with this entire I would say little mystical area between the scholars and the decision maker goes back to that time, 2005 2006, almost 16-17 years ago. Yeah.
And so the EPL is a unique journal, of course. You already mentioned the quest to bridge the gap between the scholars and the decision makers. How would you describe what EPL wants to achieve or to contribute? Can you elaborate a bit more on what makes the journal so unique?
Well, I think again, I would say it all depends. I think, like they say, as the saying goes, the beauty lies in the eye of the beholder. That how you want to envisage, how you want to draw the map, how you want to draw the particular picture, and so I think how you want to really, give shape to that, visualize the whole thing. Mere publication, of anything and everything, in a journal, that does not make a journal. Well, you can run the show for a while, but because journal is a very powerful, I would say, a platform, I would say a knowledge platform, and if you can really, work on it, try to put the whole effort into it, and then try to give shape, I think that will work wonders, in terms of, because you need the both hand, like the scholars who work in universities and centers of excellence, they need that platform, where they will, of course, the books are different, that also are published, like IUS Press also publishes many of these books, in the especially in the area of science, but especially journal, because journal has a different, it's a within a short time span, within a short kind of a size, maybe 6,000 to 8,000 or 10,000 words, an article, which is easy. Book is a little longer process. So putting that in a journal form, it's very, very important, and that too, giving a particular shape, like the special issue, thematic issue, special sections, those things carry, how that is projected, and I think then to take it, because normally when a scholar like you write for the posterity, you write precisely because not everybody, like it could be purely theoretical, purely abstract, but here, especially since this journal, has been, carrying this, designation as journal for the decision maker. So the whole process has been how to walk that talk, how to translate or how to make the journal, how to take it to the doorstep, closer to the decision maker. That is exactly what the entire, I would say, I would say the highly very innovative, organic, ideational process, basically, to make that things, and a series of those issues, which are, because the world really needs it. Large part of those problematic which we really face,
and you've
you need
started,
concrete solutions.
Yeah, and you've started only, say, a year ago, beginning of 2021. You started as editor-in-chief. No doubt there has been some changes with the journals. What has changed since you started as editor-in-chief for EPL?
Well, I think journal, this was a very remarkable period, one of the most, I would say one of the most difficult period, I would say, like you can see some of the, this is exactly what, as the saying goes, that some of the best things come out with, during some of the toughest periods, some of the most difficult period. And this was the pandemic period when everything was closed down and everybody was really going through a very difficult time, and this was the journals that, 50th year of publication of Environmental Policy and Law Journal, which was to be, so I came on that, scene, although I started around August 2020, my actual, completely, complete, shaping came, from issue number 6 of, volume 50 of, 2020, and then 2021 onwards. So there was a special issue of the journal which was designed and which carried the title as the Our Earth Matters, and 21 contributions from all continents. For instance, this is how a very ideational kind of a shape which was given, which was not, I would say, at least as far as I'm aware, for last more than 2 decades, which I have been, familiar with the journal. I don't think that kind of it was very audacious effort, during most difficult period. And yet we saw that the people, all the scholars, from different areas, they very, very enthusiastically, rose to the occasion and made that task possible, and which not only we carried all the three issues of the journal, which like issue number 6 of volume 50, and then issue number 1 and 2 of volume 51. These 3 issues carried these all 21 articles, and then this immediately like iOS Press was very gracious that immediately put that everything in a book form, and on 5th of like June 2021 we could also came out with a soft copy, with a online publication of that book called Our Earth Matters, Pathways to Our Better Common Environmental Future. And from 15 to 18 contributing authors, they joined from different parts. So that was a very amazing thing, to put that together actually, and we saw that yes, this works, and we could actually, plenty of things which have been done, because this was a very remarkable occasion. So a lot of those efforts which went to journal literally took a U-turn basically, in terms of all the things, not only the content of the publication, the method of publication, the review method, which was introduced, which was not done earlier, then the providing proofs to the authors. Everything was completely done in a very innovative way. And now since issue number 1 of volume number 52, again we have done a different thing, where the journal now is in the has been published in single column with footnotes. Hitherto the journal used to carry the endnotes. So now that comes like a completely in a kind of a what we wanted, and that shows very in a remarkable way. I could see the enthusiasm, like the three major ventures which are currently at work. One is of course the Road to Stockholm Plus 50, which was designed to coincide with the 50 years of celebration of the UN Conference on Human Environment, and this will be on 2nd and 3rd of June 2022. By that time we will come out with those series of about 20 publications, in EPL, and then again we will say envisioning our environmental future, that will put to that. We also have a special issue on climate change underway, where again about 10 to a dozen contribution will be made available from those who really matter from different areas of demystifying the entire arena of climate change. So that will be covered in the issue number 4 of volume 52. And then now there is another audacious venture which is now in the pipeline, is kind of trying to put forward the perspective of the promising women scholars, how they look at the entire arena of international environment or different areas, and that will be very remarkable without giving it a label of feminism, etc. So the question is, if the women look at the problematic, does the world look different? Do they come out with some kind of a solution which hitherto was elusive, for instance? So this is exactly what I would say, very innovative, and I saw very I would say very enthusiastic response, support, and contributions being made available by different layers. Some of them who were quite at a senior most, those who spent 40-50 years of their career in the field, some at the middle level, and now some of them who are at the formative stage of their career. So we are trying to do very innovative things, trying to address different layers of scholarship, and also different the footprint of the journal that is sought to be enhanced, the base of the journal, its rich subscriptions, and trying to make it as diffuse as possible, trying to reach out to the remote part. That is exactly what the entire process, it really entails.
Yeah, so a lot of changes in a short period of time, and a lot is happening. And can I ask you a bit about the future of EPL beyond what you just mentioned, and which challenges the journal will contribute to seek solutions? Global environment, of course, is one very big issue for all of us, and it's a subject of study of the journal, of course. It's very much under pressure, and of course you have the Sustainable Development Goals program of the United Nations. Can you tell us a bit on how EPL relates to these Sustainable Development goals program and how EPL could support that program in the next years to come.
I think it's very remarkable. I think since we have started process of identifying or connecting or linking some of these those cutting edge issues on which the articles are published in EPL, with several of those goals of under the 17 goals of the Sustainable Development Goals 2030 and those targets which are already there, like on climate issue, like on gender issue, like on forestry, on marine issue, several of those, and effectively we have been publishing that. So once we hopefully in the coming weeks and months, if we can zero in and try to put that in either a tabular form or a diagram, maybe it will show the picture as to how we our public it will speak for itself. It will show as to what journal is making inroads, or maybe trying to give effect to the objectives of the Sustainable Development Goals, for instance. That will be like couple of article like on role of climate change in exacerbating sexual and gender-based violence against women, for instance. This is one of the most I would say global arena of concern at multiple level, United Nations headquarters and multiple international committee of the Red Cross, IUCN, scholars everywhere, and I think that this article will it was immediately shortlisted. Now, for instance, the 66th session of the UN Commission on Status of Women will be holding meeting on 14th of March 2022, where there is actually a panel discussion on linkage between climate change and gender how gender equality will help in doing, or how climate change is actually has exacerbated the violence against women, and if a scholarly work tries to spell it out, tries to make sense of it, explain it, because you need things to be explained to the decision makers, because and this interlinkage is only a scholar can do, for instance. Only a scholar can, like different arena where this impinge upon it and try to find out the policy, law, institutional linkages, and then try to say that what are the gaps, for instance, like some of the issues which we have covered, which like not only the Human Rights Council is actually dealing with, some of the special rapporteurs of the Human Rights Council are also dealing with that, like the whole evolution of the human right to environment, for instance, will be very, very so we can make that targeted, coordinated, kind of a contribution to several of these sustainable development goals, and I think in a sense we will be actually helping, because United Nations has set the very ambitious target, but you need role of multiple actors, and especially the scholars, because the studies and research and trying to interpret the entire process, what is going on, that only can be possible in the scholarly realm. And if you can come out with something which is palatable, something which can be digestible from the policy makers, so that is the real challenge, and that is exactly where the crux of the function of a journal such as a global journal such as Environmental Policy and Law will lie, to make that thing to be palatable,
so the journal is a very forward-looking journal. That's you paint that picture very clearly. And of course, the landscape is complex. It's the global environment scene is very complex, and the journal itself has like you say, has a focus on environmental policy and law. Do you see, or how do you see the interaction with other disciplines for EPL? Can EPL facilitate this interaction to address the global challenges, of course, that we face?
Yeah, sure. I think so our effort is like in a sense that transdisciplinary nature, because when we speak about like now EPL's primary remit has been drawn, for instance, that it's a global journal. Primarily, it will deal with international environmental law issues, policy, law, institutional framework, for instance, now when we speak about, like environmental issues and the challenges, they're basically, they have, organic link with the scientific developments. So one is, of course, the core challenges like the issue of climate change and how the unfolding, evidence or the how that the summary for the policymaker with the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which I think we expect in the month of April or so, coming out with a new report, So how that will also probably help us, in terms of connecting that with the larger other goals. So one part is, of course, the science. Second is, the economics part, like the cost and payment and the different tools and techniques and quotas and the ceilings and those different methodologies, which or like the, for instance, the technological aspects, for instance, new including artificial intelligence, and this is exactly what I'm trying to grapple with, maybe to had a discussion with some of the promising women scholars. So one or two of them, they want to really dabble into that, the technological solutions, to resolve environmental challenge. So we will be actually trying to tap, something which is actually happening, something which could be futuristic, in terms of, different area, like even politics, like one of the important, very leading contribution, has been by one of the topmost, political scientists, Peter Haas from Massachusetts, who is trying to spell out the entire international environmental politics, how it has taken, because that it's again that politics which gives the shape, to the lawmaking process. Although science provides the basic rudimentary part, but ultimately it's the politics which calls the shots. It's in a legal garb, legal instruments are prepared, but it's the politics which calls the shots. And science provides you the necessary wherewithal, probably. So it's a
very nice phrase.
Position between science, politics, and law. And I think that is exactly where you need to do that, what is called the tightrope walking, and the journal will try to make the best, how because our primary focus will be solution oriented, trying to provide, not merely living at that, trying to challenge the scholars, trying to say that to think aloud and think ahead, what do we want? Like, for instance, how do we see the global environmental scenario maybe 50 years hence? That is exactly what the challenge will like this entire trajectory about something like 20 plus women scholars, whom I will be roping in. For instance, I will be asking each of them to look ahead, try to see, can you, the entire global environmental regulatory enterprise over last 50 years, like the situation has actually worsened, so that means something needs to be rethought, that what went wrong, although the entire maze has grown, the numerous treaties have come up, institutions have come up, huge amount of funding is spent, then why should the global environmental crisis still becoming thicker and thicker, We need to correct that, because ultimately it's not a question of merely publishing and merely doing that. It's a basically larger interest of the human population, not only human being, but I would say purely, for that matter, the life on planet Earth itself, and very survival of our own survival.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think we will be where we are not trying to be very, in a sense, I would say, with a very modest effort. I would say to make that very modest effort, try to make that effort. We are not aiming that everything will be possible, but at least within the limits of time and space and constraints of the journal and the whatever it's a scholarly community which has to do it, and then finally we'll try to take it to the doorstep of the decision makers, to see that even if some parts of things which EPL carries, if that finds an echo, it can resonate with the people, I would say, I'm sure, it will be really worth it, even if, it will be really worth it, just to try to walk the talk, like, the second, heading of the, the journal, journal for the decision maker, So basically the journal will act as a bridge between the scholarly community and the decision makers, and we will try our, make an honest effort to see that, something very positive, constructive thing which which will benefit for the for our future.
Yeah. You're painting a very, very clear and positive picture, and it sounds like the journal is a very instrumental venture to support on that. To close off, are there any other developments you see which are important for the future of publishing of EPL or for publishing in general?
Well, I think this is a very fluid situation, and we will try to do, as I say, literally kind of a terrain mapping, as the scenario is actually developing, and we'll see, like for instance, some of the things which are happening. Like only last week, the decision was taken at the meeting of the UN Environment Programme in the 50th year celebration of the UN Environment Programme in Nairobi, where almost a kind of decision is taken to set up an intergovernmental negotiating committee to draft a global treaty, to address plastic pollution, and then maybe the marine litter, So this is a new area which is really happening, or like biodiversity beyond the limits of national jurisdiction, And I'm sure some other futuristic area which we still don't know, but probably like, for instance, not only in the realm of the oceans, for instance, but even outer space, like the space debris and how the entire program. So these are the things which are going to affect the environment on planet Earth, and so maybe we will try our best, So I mean, just indicating something in the womb of the future, that these are the things, and we will keep our eyes and ears open and try to tap different developments taking place in different lawmaking processes, like International Law Commission, what is happening, like in the form of the General Assembly, for instance, and also maybe even the United Nations Security Council, for instance, the growing securitization of the challenge of climate change, for instance. Although a lot of sovereign states have the reservations, but since the UNFCCC process is literally is not making kind of a great headway, in terms of carbon emissions, etc. I think because it has a different dimensions, so different organs are playing, for that role at a different level, and we will try to call out, what could be best. Although sovereign states have their own interest, but what could be that common connecting thread, I would say function of international law in a global society. Can law help, in trying to address the global, I would say the world problematic, And I think that will be the raison d'être of function of a global journal like Environmental Policy or Law. Try to be there, as the things are happening, and try to literally provide a platform, try to do those innovative solutions, and try to, I think that will be that, I'm sure, once we broaden the net to provide the platform to people, and also ensure the journal reaches to different parts of the world. That is one of the I would say very necessary or needful service, to the scholarly community and also to the policymakers both.
Yep. Well, that's a perfect way to conclude the future of looking at EPL and looking at the future in general. And I would like to thank you, Bharat, for your stimulating views. It was great to hear your perspective. I would like to thank you for your time for the discussion, and it's clear we have a stimulating future ahead of us. So thank you. Thank you very much.
And I really greatly appreciate that both, iOS Press, director, the founder and director, Einar, Fredriksson has been very, very supportive, and he has been very encouraging to this. And you, as a publisher of the journal, have been providing a very, very strong support, and provided, really a kind of a push to whatever the way, I think journal, and that is very essential, to make it possible, basically, through the in-house iOS Press mechanism, that the entire production process, etc. Because it's like production of a film. Multiple people have their role to play. The director does give the direction, but so the ultimate, that how far that film will serve the purpose, because a lot of films are designed for social purposes. So this is exactly what the film which EPL is providing, will be for
Sure.
that, as I would say, global solution provider, as a trying to provide a robust, a scholarly kind of a platform, and I would say hopefully it will provide us a win-win kind of dividends,
Yeah.
for everyone. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Good.